And, his rhetoric is, of course,
terrifying.
Extreme.
His rhetoric is terrifying.
It's terrifying, but I think it's also indicative of what he's willing to do over the course of the next 12 months to make sure that Republicans retain the House.
Abby Phillip had a panel on her Table for Five show on CNN that included the return of Sam Seder of the Majority Report. Sam Seder got to help Abby Phillip and the rest take down one of the resident MAGA stooges who goes on to Abby Phillip's show. This time they were talking about threats made by the President of the United States, Donald Trump, against Democrats. We're going to take a look at clips of this panel on Abby Phillip's show that included Sam Seder and the rest. I have some thoughts that I would like to share as well. Let's check this one out together.
Welcome back. When it comes to Donald Trump's rhetoric, America is well rehearsed. There's been a decade of insults, provocations, controversies. You named the line and Trump has pretty much crossed it. But did he go too far this time? 6 Democrats released a video telling service members to disobey illegal orders. The president called them traitors. He said that they could be executed for seditious behavior. He even promoted another message that called for their hangings. One columnist says it's all a distraction from the bad news that he's been facing this week, from Epstein to the economy. Now, while that could most certainly be true, can it be ignored? Should it be ignored? Especially when those lawmakers say that his rhetoric is putting their lives actually in danger. After all, Trump and Republicans get angry when Democrats, liken his behavior to a fascist or a dictator. But calling for the execution of political opponents fits the definition. And it's certainly more extreme than calling someone a descriptor. I mean, do you think that, I hear this sort of like, don't fall for the okie doke, he's just trying to distract you thing from Democrats a lot. Do you think this falls into that category, or is it something else?
Well, I think, frankly, you've got two sides that are preparing for perhaps what's going to happen over the course of the next year. Donald Trump's approval ratings are dismal. The Republican Party is on their back heels. They got destroyed, wiped out in a way that I haven't seen in 20 years in those elections 2 weeks ago. And so I think there's genuine concern amongst a lot of people in the country that Donald Trump is going to send in troops. He's already got these 500-person rapid response forces that are beginning to train and are going to be able to be deployed by spring. I think there's a lot of people who are concerned about what's going to happen over the course of the next 12 months in the run-up to the midterm elections. And I think the Democrats were trying to get out in front of that, and I think Donald Trump is trying to prevent them from getting out in front of it. And, his rhetoric is, of course,
terrifying.
Extreme.
His rhetoric is terrifying.
It's terrifying, but I think it's also indicative of what he's willing to do over the course of the next 12 months to make sure that Republicans retain the House.
No, but what do you mean? Do you mean in terms of actually following through on the threats, or what?
Well, I think there is a concern that Donald Trump is going to try and prevent the midterm elections from happening.
Okay, you're talking about these are the illegal orders.
Oh, okay, that he's trying to.
Okay.
But let's just talk about just what's happening right now and how we just think that he's planning ahead. What world do we live in when a president, it gives an idea that, yes, I think execution is okay for my political opponents? What world do we live in when we just ignore that and we don't talk about what that actually means? Because we're used to what he's done. He's numbed us. We're normalizing his behavior. I think that's really dangerous. And I think all of it, yes, it is a distraction. Yes, it is something for us to pay attention to. But how dangerous is it as we come off of a assassination of Charlie Kirk? How dangerous is it to hear him say this?
Brought that up.
As if someone
the violence in this country is one-sided, and everyone knows it, right? What Trump is talking about is sedition, which is a law and order process. It goes, by the way, George Washington had generals who did insurrections put to death as well, right? So that's our first president that we ever had. Trump is...
Wait, hold on.
Let me just be clear.
Are you suggesting that Trump is right that these Democrats
what I'm saying is that you guys are making the same mistake that you always do about Trump, which is that you're taking him literally instead of seriously. What he is obviously pointing out...
He's the president of the United States. I think it is warranted to take him quite literally.
But you fall for this game every time.
I'm sorry. He is not not candidate Trump anymore. It's President Trump.
But what those Democrats are doing is absolutely treasonous. It's disloyal. They are causing division within the military. Who's issuing unlawful orders?
How is that treasonous?
How is his actions not the same type of normalizing of violent rhetoric that led to the assassinations that we've seen that's come from DNR. I mean, we've seen.
Which are?
I'm saying I think
Democratic lawmakers in Minnesota
Oh,
were
the ones that were
assassinated.
killed after the Medicaid wasn't expanded to illegal immigrants?
Hold
the
on.
ones that,
Wait, excuse me?
It's just all...
This is one of the arguments that drives me crazy. So this MAGA pundit guy is named Terry Schilling, and they do this thing all the time. Oh, Donald Trump was just kidding. He was just joking. And Abby Phillip rightfully is saying here, he's the president of the United States. We can't have the president of the United States making jokes like this. And this is something that I really hope in the next election, the next presidential election, that in the debates, they will, the debate moderators will say to Republican candidates, if it's J.D. Vance, because he loves to engage in this BS as well. If you are elected president, how will we know when you're joking or trolling or what you're saying is what you actually believe and is something that you might actually do? Because when we have people that, literally can start wars and have the nuclear codes, to me, we can't have these people joking around and trolling and all of this like Donald Trump does and J.D. Vance does, and these MAGA pundits like the Schilling guy here and Scott Jennings and Ben Ferguson and the other ones that go on Abby Phillip's show love to do all the time. We should have a higher standard than that. If the president tells some minor joke, that's one thing. But talking about executing the people from the other party, I don't think that's something to be joking around about. And of course, also with MAGA, it's always, but the Democrats, but the Democrats, but the Democrats. I wish there were some way that any of these pundits that go on shows like Abby Phillip's show could be blocked from saying, but the Democrats, and to actually address what Donald Trump has said and done without trying to place the blame somewhere else.
No.
Are you saying that's okay?
No, I'm saying they were Democrats that killed them.
No,
this is not
you
Republicans.
You don't know that.
No, that is
I'm sorry.
not
You
true.
do not
This is
know that.
sensitive to me because Charlie Kirk was actually a friend.
I understand
And to hear
that,
people
but-
talk about Donald Trump and Republicans
I'm sorry,
inciting
but Terry,
violence, it's just crazy.
The
It's
history
crazy. I'm
of
sorry.
political violence in this country is not a Democrat story. That is factually inaccurate.
It is in the last 5 years.
No, it is in the last 1 year. One, single. Okay? This year, 2025, is the first and only year in the last 20 years where left-wing violence has exceeded right-wing violence. That is a fact. In the last 5 years, it's been 4 years, it's right-wing violence, 1 year left-wing violence. So you can have the aperture only be expanded to the last 10 months, but in the history of this modern political time, that is just not accurate. But even if it were,
He's
if
not allowed to
Donald
say that.
Trump thinks that there is a problem of political violence in this country, why on earth
Would he say
are
that?
comments like these acceptable to
Sedition
you?
is a lawful process. You have to be
Sure.
tried and convicted in the court of law.
Sure.
He's not
But
encouraging
you
people.
actually
He's not saying
believe-
this is Hitler.
But hold on a second.
These people are fascists.
You actually believe that Democrats putting out a video saying follow the law
I think
is
it was
sedition?
terrible. I think it was terrible.
You think that's sedition?
And look, we've already seen Democrats weaponize
Terry,
the
let me
government.
ask you a question. Do you think that Democrats putting out a video saying this is follow the law, don't follow
Why do you need
illegal
to tell
orders,
people to follow the law?
do you think that is sedition?
Everyone in the military
It's a
knows
yes
you need
or
to follow
no. It
the
is
law.
a yes or no question.
I
Is it
think-
sedition to tell people to follow the law?
I think Democrats have a long and standing history of undercutting
I'm just
and undermining
saying
the
you're
Constitution.
not
and
willing
our-
to say yes or no because it's very obvious
Clear.
that the answer is no.
Because they
because if
weren't-
that were the case,
It's
then,
a wink
then,
and a nod. That's the
then a
reason.
lot of
Their
things
words
would
are
be sedition.
perfectly.
We
It's
would
a
be
perfect
executing
video,
people left, right,
but
and center.
it's a wink and a nod, and it's all meant to undermine the president of the United States. The military does not have a right to
Guess
undermine
what?
the chief.
Hold on a second. In this country, you do get to undermine the president of the United
Not
States.
if you're in the military.
No.
He's the
No.
commander-in-chief.
If you are a member of Congress, you absolutely, in this country, have a free
accountability.
right
But they're
to
calling
undermine
on
the
the
president of the
military
United
to
States. You know that,
undermine
right?
the
Also
commander-in-chief.
just made the argument that the Democrats were making in that video, because the fact is the military is not obligated to follow illegal orders.
Who's giving the illegal orders? Where
Well,
are they? Give me the
The
example of the
Democrats
illegal
were
order.
saying specifically, you're not obligated to follow illegal orders.
Okay,
period.
then what illegal orders are they talking about?
Well,
they're
they're
just
in the future.
just in case.
In the future, yeah.
Because you're
just in the case.
because they're
right
all
now
crazy.
we have a
No
judge
one's gonna
who's
stop
saying
the
crazy.
midterms.
Trump's,
No one's going to stop the
Trump,
midterms.
Trump's sending in.
Who just came up with the conspiracy theory that Republicans are going to stop the midterms?
Trump's
That's
sending in-
crazy. That's a conspiracy theory.
All right.
Calling
We have
it
to leave it
law.
there.
And so Terry Schilling is asking Sam Seder here to present evidence of anything illegal that the military would do. There was a story just the other day from PBS where they were talking about soldiers contacting. There are nonprofit organizations that give free legal advice to people in the military. So there's been an uptick in people in the military contacting these legal organizations to say, hey, am I going to get in trouble if I follow these orders, like are being done going into cities or any of the other things being asked of the military, things like bombing Venezuelan boats? We know that's illegal. And these people in the military are saying, hey, I don't want, when Trump's out of office, I don't want to possibly face jail time or get kicked out of the military for following orders that turned out to be illegal. And I believe that Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, is saying that any of the members of the military who commit illegal acts, that they are going to face consequences for that, because even though Donald Trump has been deemed above the law by the Supreme Court in terms of having immunity, the other people in the military do not have that same kind of immunity. So Sam Seder, the Terry Schilling, the MAGA guy, is trying to do a gotcha on Sam Seder, but Sam Seder was actually correct with what he was saying. Let me know what you think about all this. How do you feel about how the Democrats have handled this by asking members of the military to defy orders that are illegal? How do you feel about what Sam Seder had to say on Abby Phillip show, and the two of them rightfully going against this MAGA pundit in their assessment of what Donald Trump is doing? Let me know in the comments what you think. Make sure to give me a like and subscribe. I'm Chris on Culture, and I will see you in the next video.